Welcome, my listeners, to 2025. The BM show is back.
And we're in the future. It's 10 years after Marty McFly went to the future to save his kid or something. And yeah, ruined the future. He ruined the future. And we're in the future that he ruined.
Because I know Biff was Griff, so does that mean like Marty McFly's kid is Farty McFly?
Big Mac and Fry? What?
Big Mac and Fry. Smarty McFly? I don't know.
Oh man, we got
He was not even there. The dude Marty McFly's kid was so high that So yeah, it's 2025, and maybe this episode will be the first episode where we have our theme song going, a little cover theme song going. I'm kind of putting Ben on the spot at this point.
Because that means I have to do post-editing work on it?
Or maybe we're not going to have it.
Because usually I just take what we're doing right now and it's just like raw what we're doing, and that goes up so that the people have something to listen to while I'm getting snippets of this together as videos, because that's the thing that takes forever. But you want me to...
No, I noticed you get this up like as fast as you can. I just wish that like if you take that theme song and it really needs to be altered a little bit different, but YouTube wouldn't let it go, so it'd have to sound like this on YouTube. So you got the lines there with from Pixel Magic to Blockbuster Heart, dive right in, let's set this vibe apart, right?
Yeah, yep.
It should really be from Pixel Legend to Blockbuster Heart, dive right in, let's rip this apart. That would be so much better.
You can actually redo the whole thing with the app, and you can put any words you want to it, and it'll just redo the song like with those lyrics.
Will it do it with profanity though?
It will. And in fact, they have their own AI for writing lyrics. And you can when you turn it on, it gives you a warning that this AI is Wild West, man. Like this thing, it does not, like, there's no limits on this thing. So you can, I've never played with this because I probably should, just to see what I can. Maybe I don't want to. Maybe I don't want to play with this, because you can see what it could. I had to do some swearing. It will do some swearing, and it will hit controversial topics. Because there's no limits on it. But when it does, every time it's like, just to let you know, this is controversial because you're a child and we have to baby you. I'm like, I pay you. Back off.
We should really for soon put that intro. Just if we can get a cut of it, you can always just go in, like, I don't know, Movie Maker or something, and link the two videos together. But what we should really do is get that just that one part, the chorus part, and change that last line so it is let's rip this shit apart, and put that as the intro.
Well, here it is. I had to pull it up on my phone.
Yeah, I mean, we could skip all that intro part.
Skip all the intro part?
It's not skip all this verse part.
Oh, hold on. I think I just got to the part and then I fast forwarded. That's the part you're talking about.
Yes. Wouldn't it sound better? Let's rip this apart.
Let's rip this shit apart.
Yes. But you don't have to say it.
Yeah, I don't know if I can see if I can have it do it. Here's the thing with the AI. The AI is like an idiot savant. And there's a lot of times it really, you think I'm explaining this, you should be getting this. Why don't you get what I'm trying to ask you to do? And it just does not get what you're trying to ask it to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be so simple. It's like, all I want you to do is to take all the words off this picture. It gives me the picture back with more words.
Mm-hmm.
No, I want you to take the words off the picture. Stuff like that. It's really dumb stuff where it can get so confused. So this might work. I might have problems with it. I'll try it. But I have to go in and I have to do it. I think I extend it I think they do a thing where you could extend the song and then you could add your own lyrics, which I did before. And we might have to do for when we have other people on the show and we do our once a month specials. When we bring back the other guys,
we'll see who comes back. It's up in the air.
It's in the air. Okay, we're working on it. Okay.
I can feel it calling in the air tonight. BM squared. I've been waiting for this poo-poo for all my life.
Here's another thing: is that the software, you can't use anything that's copyrighted. Like I can't even put in like the name of an artist. I have to go and like you have 200 characters to describe what you want for like the music type.
Yeah.
And you have to like, you can't just say I want Metallica. You have to like, okay, how would I describe Metallica to somebody? And use those words. Crap. Make crappy song.
Sorry, I had to call. I had to just call it how I see it.
Sorry, it was the first band that came to my mind. I'm sorry. Okay.
Here's a question: if you can do the mix and mic ticks song in a AI, how would you have it do LeMay? And is LeMay copyrighted? You'd have to put like la L-U and then May like the month maybe.
Well, isn't LeMay isn't that French? But the French.
As far as we know.
Yeah, you can't copyright a French word.
Well, it's kind of a French word. It's kind of somebody else made it very, very famous. Who's very, very good looking.
Yeah, but you know who else used that? Was it the guy that was it the skunk that was chasing around the cat, Pepe Le Pew?
When did he say it?
Le May. Didn't he? I think he used it. Hold on, they're gonna get me looking this up. Hold on, Le May.
Look it up. You're gonna bore the people that are listening. There's
a Curtis LeMay. He's a U.S. Air Force general. That does not help me at all. LeMay Incorporated.
So whenever you game, you're a U.S. Air Force Marshal.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That works out great. So whenever you game, you're in the Army.
LeMay is a French surname that is derived from the Old French word LeMay, LeMay, meaning the May. It is believed to have originated as a nickname for someone born or baptized in the month of May or someone associated with the month in some way. So you're using it to mean like you're upset, right? Or you're bad.
No, I'm using it in the way that it was used in Zoolander 2, where they had the scene where they had the stickers on them where they said, one said old and the other said lame, and they go, LeMay.
Okay, so they got it screwed up, and you're carrying on with that. And I just thought, okay.
Yeah, well, that was a joke.
I thought these were French with a French word that meant like you're upset, like LeMaying something. I don't know, like.
No. That's why in the ending I say, so if you are still lame, because it rhymes with blame at that point.
Oh, they're thinking LeMay means lame. Oh, they're saying lame wrong.
Yeah, you gotta watch Zoolander 2 again, where he looks at the sticker that says lame, he goes, LeMay.
Oh, see, I never watched Zoolander 2 because I had a feeling that it was absolutely awful, and I thought Zoolander 1 was amazing, and I'm like, I don't want to ruin Zoolander 1 by watching Zoolander 2.
Zoolander 2 is not good. And it's, if you're at all religious, it's very sacrilegious. But it does have a couple good parts, and that's one of them.
Yeah, like because Zoolander 1, like because I love the story of. I've always loved those movies where he takes. That's why I like Ernest so much. It's because you're taking somebody who like is such an idiot, and you're putting them in this like that's the Marx Brothers. I'm watching Ernest, and I'm thinking this is like a Marx Brothers movie. Every single one of these movies, all of a sudden he's in a different position, a position he probably shouldn't have, which is like the Marx Brothers, and it's a fish out of water story every single time.
Well, Zoolander, he wasn't like stupid. He was just really, really ridiculously good looking.
No, he's stupid.
I know he's stupid.
Yeah. Like what my favorite thing is still always when they're at the gas station and they're pouring the gasoline on each other.
You mean the scene with Barrett?
With Barrett?
Yeah, the scene with Barrett.
How's it with the scene with Barrett?
That's how Barrett died. Remember the freak gasoline fight?
Yeah, but he wasn't in the movie.
You just didn't look well enough in the background.
Oh, he was one of the stunt guys in the movie.
Yeah, he was. That's when he died.
Yeah, we forgot that he freelanced as a stunt guy.
Yep, that's exactly right. Stuntman Barrett.
I'm crying about it. It's so sad.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, we should probably get started here.
Yeah, we should get started. We are doing a review, are we not?
We are doing Review Corner, so I think we need a little bit of a jingle, Ben.
You mean like Mike's Review Corner? He's here to review a bunch of games for you. Some of them are good.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. So today is actually going to be a review series on a series that's being reviewed.
Okay.
Some people follow up with me here. So this is for a series that you may have not heard of called Dreadout. Dreadout is, as far as I know, like an Indonesian indie type survival horror style. Well, I don't know if you want to call it survival horror. Let's just call it
Dreadout.
Dreadout, just like horror games. And there's Dreadout. There's actually 3 games in the 2-part series. So figure that one out. I'm going to go ahead and talk about each individual one because I think that they need to be talked about. And I appreciate you that you're putting the video on for everyone to see, which is one of the 3. But that's fine. That works out fine. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and start with talking about Dreadout. So here is my review for Dreadout, the first one. Let's cut through the BS and get to brass tacks here. You'll be playing this one of 2 ways. 1, you'll use a guide to get through it and get through it fast. 2, you won't have a clue what you do unless you get an E to pick up an item, so you'll probably quit mid-act 1. This is a one-and-done game. You aren't going to play through it and then right after think, oh my God, I need to play Dreadout from beginning to end again. But at the same time, the puzzles, or whatever you want to call it for this game, are so dang obtuse. Either you'll just get a message to grab an item or be flinging your camera view around not knowing what you're looking for and snapping pictures of nothing. I applaud the game for mood. It's really a captivating game, but the mechanics are a disaster. It reminds me so much when I was trying my luck at making a D&D adventure in a PC game long ago. The steps to beat it made sense to me and was beatable at max level, but good luck playing through it to the end if you aren't me and have prior knowledge of what you need to do. So here is the truth of it. Don't get this game. Go to YouTube like Ben's doing right now and watch a long play. It will be about 2.5 hours. Then call it a day. You're welcome. So to sum it up, for Dreadout 1, thumbs down. Now, there's an offshoot of Dreadout 1, and that's called Dreadout Keepers of the Dark. And here's my review for Dreadout Keepers of the Dark. I think it's Keepers of the Dark. Yeah, Keepers of the Dark. Here's my review for Dreadout Keepers of the Dark. Wow. This is crap. It's like a boss rush mode, but adds a little bit of the Dreadout nonsensical walk around and collect items. Whoever greenlit this idea should go live in Dreadout World. I said it in my Dreadout review. That it's better to just go on YouTube, watch the long play, and save yourself money and misery. For this one, it isn't a recommendation. It is a requirement. Combat, mood, look. I can't think of one thing this does right apart from the option to go back to the title screen and quit the game while playing. So if you didn't know where this one was going, thumbs down for Keepers of the Dark. So that brings us to our final Dreadout review. Oh, and if you thought these were hitting hard, you ain't seen nothing yet. Dread Out 2. Go ahead and bring that one up. I think you're on the Dread Out story before. You got to go to the next one.
Oh, this is right here, though. Full gameplay commentary.
Okay, yeah, that is Dread Out 2. Okay, thank you. So Dread Out 2. Dread Out 2 is probably the biggest catch-me-off-guard masterpieces ever made. It still reeks of indie style, but plays how Silent Hill and Fatal Frame series should be. In fact, whereas Silent Hill 2 was playable to me, I was just engrossed in Dread Out 2. This is what Silent Hill 2 should have been. It keeps the same twisted nature of Silent Hill 2, but puts it at an annoyance level of Silent Hill 1. You'll still have a good amount of doors that you'll run into that don't open, but it's kept to a much lower level. And being based off of real Indonesian ghost lore is a real nice educational and cultural touch. The problem, though, is this. One, it doesn't seem to be optimized correctly. The game is not the prettiest game out there, but at high graphics, I was getting stuttering. And two, much like the first, it doesn't give much direction in the parts, but is very much more controlled than the first. I didn't feel as lost in 2. Ironically, I got the first in the series for like $3. I got the spin-off of the first for about $1. I got this one through Amazon for free. Maybe I should have gone back to get. Maybe I should not have gone back to get the first games after getting this for free. But hindsight is 20/20. And for about $5, I got the whole series with a fantastic game. I'm not disappointed. This one is worth full price. Verdict for this one: high thumbs up.
You like this one?
Oh, dude, this one was so good. And as far as I know, last I looked was, I think, yesterday. This one is still free on Amazon right now.
So out of the 3 of them, one of them is good.
Exactly. But not just good, very good.
Very good.
Which I want to point out is going to be the opposite of our topic later today. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this review right now.
I'm going to stop sharing it.
Eventually, it's going to get us to the actual review. Or I mean, it gets us to the actual topic idea.
Very good, very good. So, all right. Are we moving along?
That was now we get to the interesting stuff.
Okay.
So I gave Ben a little task.
Mm-hmm.
Ben's gonna go ahead and do this task right now. So welcome again to the So It Sucks and It's Something That You Don't Want to Do. Well, guess what? Boom, boom. Ben does it, so you don't have to.
Now, this game here, I'm trying to get out of it now.
Hold on. So here's the thing. Let's bring it up. Everyone's probably heard of big rigs. Everyone's heard of the problems with big rigs. And if you haven't heard the problems with big rigs, you're going to want to YouTube big rigs and find out all about it. But Big Rigs wasn't the only game that the specific company made. And being that Ben is an S-rank, high-class, crazy taxi player who probably wins most of the competitions every year, and being that the creators of Big Rigs also made a crazy taxi game, Ben decided to play it so you don't have to. So you get to see the experience of Ben playing a game called Taxi Driver.
It's from Best Buy.
Now, the other company, like Stuttering Express or something, is the Big Rigs people. Stellar Stone. Stuttering Express, I was close, right?
Stuttering Express.
I don't know.
Stellar Stone.
Here we go. Taxi Racer.
Here we go.
Okay.
All right.
So go to Countdown. Countdown is what I did.
Okay, use the mouse. Gotcha. Okay. Is there any options I want to go through?
There are probably no options. You probably click options and they all suck. Keep it how it is.
Difficulty, traffic, 32-bit color. Yes, we want 32-bit color. Visibility.
Leave it how it is, man. No, just leave it how it is. At everything it is. Leave it at normal. Let's see how it really rolls.
Countdown. Stop spinning. Stop spinning. Stop it. Oh my god.
Why don't you just choose normal car? Okay.
Oh, you can
see. I told you it was by Stuttering Express. Look at those cars spinning.
I know. Look at this thing. So I guess this looks like an SUV, a standard taxi, or a luxury car. We're going to be a luxury car driver.
Okay.
Oh wow. Good sound.
And your clock is ticking. Go get your people. It should. I think you need to use the arrow keys to move.
Dude, I can't hear anything. Hold on. I can't hear you, Mike.
Okay.
I didn't want to quit all the way out of it. I just wanted to quit to the menu, but okay, we'll do it all the way out. It sucks. You got to watch this intro every single time, and there's no music in the intro, and the car is so loud, I can't hear you talk. There's not even music. I mean, you can't even, come on. You can't even put cheap music in here. No one's going to notice. You can't steal music from another game.
You can't steal an Offspring song or something.
So I'm going to change one option, which is I'm going to turn off all the sound. Music? There was no music. It was just. So that'll be the one option I changed. I'm just turning the sound off so I can hear you. Okay. Because I don't care if I hear this stupid car, and I don't care what car I use. I use that. Okay. I still hear the car. The sound effects are still on. Okay. All right. Fine. If I can't hear you, that's fine. Okay. So the arrows are moving. It's like Crazy Taxi. Stop. Okay. Stutters into my car. I have no idea where to send him. He doesn't talk to me. I have to turn down the speakers. He is.
Come on, Ben. All you have to do is just turn a little. Oh, dude.
No, I am touching.
I feel really sorry for the guy in the back.
He's never gonna get this.
Oh, all right, there you go. Oh, dude. 3, 2, 1.
When you die. Oh,
time's up.
That was awful.
Do it again.
Why did the sound not go down? Everything's turned down. Let's max out the visibility and turn the color up and see if that makes it any better. And traffic, what traffic?
Did I have a heavy traffic? Because I didn't see one car.
We're going to put traffic on high.
Okay.
And we'll do this in a watch us die style, or we're just going to turn the difficulty all the way up.
Okay, that's fine. All right, here we go.
Still, there's no traffic. I can still hear the car run. But none of the options I just adjusted did anything. Turning is ridiculous. Every time you try to turn, it turns to feel all the way.
Oh, this is just awesome.
We're thinking an optional steering wheel controller. I like so much. But I have a steering wheel. Anticipation sucks.
Oh, there was a bump. You could have jumped your car.
I saw another car. Did you see the other car?
Oh, this is great.
This so
this was worth it.
This is so hard to control.
Oh.
I gooey.
Oh.
He's going to that building, I'm assuming. And I got 2 seconds to get up there, and it ain't gonna happen. Yeah. That was with the difficulty all the way up. All right, let me try with the difficulty all the way down. Let's see. We're gonna turn there's traffic. We're gonna turn the traffic all the way down.
Difficulty normal changes to hard.
Workday is 300 seconds, and your countdown 75 seconds. I'm not sure what that all means, but okay. Know. Clouds. Let's have clouds on everything.
I wonder if it's gonna be on the road as well too.
Let's have shadows on everything. Detail is on high. Dude. I'm sure my video card can handle this. Let's work this video card out, man. Let's
do a different car. Oh,
I'm sorry, dude.
It's okay. Go for it.
Oh, that's a brake. That's good. Okay, so your emergency brake is your space bar. And when I say emergency brake, I mean like I need to stop this very second. Like you go 0 to 60 in no time. Or 60 to 0. 60 to 0.
60 to 0 is more like it.
Oh God, I can't stand it. Florida City. Let's screw this guy. I gotta drive around. I'm never gonna make it there anyway, so let's just give up on it.
You could. You might make it. Well, you're going in the right direction. You were.
LA, maybe. Make create some part of LA. I'm trying to figure out where we're. Oh my God! I actually dropped them off.
No, you got picking up somebody else now.
Oh, I keep hitting. I want to go across town. Like, down. Oh my God, it's another car. 2 other cars. We're in the future. Oh. This is a road. Get in a road. You're a car. You belong on the road. It's your home. It's a nightmare. This is an absolute nightmare. Oh my God, it just reset me. I didn't even know how that happened. I'm glad it did though. Okay. I just dropped the guy off. Now I have 42 seconds to pick up another.
Oh, he just appears again. I guess he needs to ride somewhere else now.
I'm starting to get the hang of this, and this game really sucks. I don't really want to get that. Oh my God. How did that happen?
Who knows? This city is haunted. It's cursed.
More traffic when you put the traffic on low.
You need to run into a car head on.
That's what I see.
I love how you just bounce back off the buildings like a rubber band.
Yeah, rubber bands you like that. See that? That's why I keep ending up like getting put the.
You were just like, I love how you're rolling your.
I'm just driving around.
You're just like rolling your tires across the side of the building. You're two-wheeling it across the building. Time's up.
Okay, we're done. I did 3
rounds. Okay, so Ben, being the crazy taxi expert he is, what's your opinion on Taxi Racer?
Okay, so I gotta look this up. Let me go and look this up on. First of all, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because I don't want people to see my chat GPT. Confirm stop sharing. Yes, stop sharing. So I gotta look up this game. There was this one game that came out like 2 years ago on the Switch, and I thought that was the worst version of Crazy Taxi I ever seen. But this one is worse.
Really? How could this possibly be worse than anything else? It's clearly a work of art.
It's a work of something. This is horrible.
The moment I took my first turn in the game is when I realized, oh, this is going to be so fun to watch Ben play this.
Okay, so the other one was called Taxi Chaos. I just looked it up. Taxi Chaos came out like a couple of years ago for like Nintendo Switch and everything, and I thought that was it was supposed to be a spiritual successor to Crazy Taxi. It even got the blessing from the people who made Crazy Taxi as being like the next version, and it's awful. And I'm like, this is a horrible game, and I can't believe what they did to Crazy Taxi. That game looks like an absolute masterpiece, a gem among video games compared to this crap. This was horrible. I couldn't control anything. I probably could have tried a controller. Maybe I would have had better luck, but I doubt it. And that's what matters, you know. Like, I didn't care. You know, I didn't care.
Well, basically, I noticed the moment you press the arrow in any direction to the left or right, you're just going to spin out.
Yeah, like there's no subtlety to turning. Turning, it's all the way.
Yep.
And also an e-brake, you stop literally on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
There's no subtlety to anything. It's nothing. The physics do not work like they do in our world.
Exactly.
In this game.
And that's how it works in Stuttering Express's world.
Yeah, apparently. That's like the sign of a good game of like the physics match. Just like all these videos are out. If you ever look up NHL 94, it's considered to be the greatest hockey game ever made. And all these people, they have all these videos. There's tons of videos on NHL 94. And I'm like, yeah, the reason the NHL games were always good for the Genesis was because the physics of the ice, they got it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is how stuff reacts on an icy surface. That's how it reacts. They got it just the way it's supposed to be. You're pressing the controller and you let go, your guy keeps moving a little bit because of inertia, you know?
Yeah.
And with this game, there is no such thing as inertia. An object in motion will come to immediate rest.
Well, that's what it did in
Any
Big Rig.
resistance is put upon it.
That's the same thing it did in Big Rigs when you're going backwards.
Yeah, because you're probably using the same engine as Big Rigs. That's why I was trying to go backwards at one point to see if I can go into cyberspace like you could in Big Rigs. If you want to know about Big Rigs, may I recommend the Angry Video Game Nerd episode about Big Rigs. Big motherfucking rigs.
Oh. Well, there's an actual what made Big Rigs popular was there was a review, and I think it was by somebody at IGN, that no one would have like had any clue about Big Rigs if it wasn't for that review, because it's like so famous.
And yet I don't know about it. That's interesting.
Well, you'll be looking it up, I'm sure, after this.
Oh, sure, definitely. It's right up there.
Yep.
Are we ready to talk about our video review? Did you watch this?
I did.
You did watch this.
So that brings us to...
That brings us to the future of video games, Mike. To the absolute future, where you can go and take your machine and make it 40 times faster and all these graphics and colors. All right.
To another episode of Should You Bother?
Should you
watch this?
Absolute Row Street is a 1994 television movie produced by Sega as an infomercial to promote the Sega 32X, an add-on for the Sega Genesis console. This film follows a group of young adults who produce a video game review show called Game Beat. Facing cancellation by a network executive who wants to replace their show with his girlfriend's fashion program, the team aims to save Game Beat by featuring the new Sega 32X in their upcoming episode. Cast features... Oh, you want to go? I was about to go through the cast.
Yeah, I get to go first, but are you done talking about it, or is there more you had to say about it?
I was going to run down the cast.
Go for it if you want to.
Okay, because we won't know who any of these people are anyways. But the cast includes Dex Elliott Sanders as Jim, Sam Nicholson as himself, and American McGee as himself. Notably, Sam Nicholson was a producer of Sega's Tomcat Alley, Midnight Raiders, and Surgical Strike, while American McGee is known for his work on Doom and American McGee's Alice. Absolute Rose Street was aired late at night on Viacom-owned cable stations as Comedy Central and MTV. The production mimicked the style of a youthful-oriented TV show of the era, blending entertainment with the promotional content of Sega's promotion. Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna call crap right there because let's go over the real cast. So the real cast were, you had the Black Ranger Zach Taylor. You had the Make 7, or was that Make 7 Up Yours guy.
Yep.
You had Courtney Cox, and you had Vanilla Ice. This is really what. So, but I get to do this. I always get to do this. So on a scale of Sigourney Weaver to 10, I get to rate the Courtney Cox lady, right?
Sure, why not?
She gets a rating of. Hi there, Sigourney Weaver. Is there room on the seat next to you? She was bad. They were all bad. Everyone in this was just bad.
So apparently, from what I've picked up over the years, is that this was supposed to possibly be a show, and Sega was looking to become like, they were going to start like doing, because Nintendo was doing this. Nintendo used to do Captain N the Game Master and the Super Mario Brothers cartoon and all this stuff. And Sega, they had the Sonic cartoon, but they were always trying to be like, we're the cool ones. We're for like the people who are in their late teens, early 20s. This is the system that they play. And what better thing to do than to come up with a show that'll be aimed towards them. And then at the time, like Melrose Place and 90210 were big shows. And there was a lot, and also like we were watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which was also kind of doing the same type of thing, and like all these different shows where there's teenagers and high school type of shit. And this is very, very much falling into that kind of vein where they're trying to do this. And I guess Sega was maybe hoping that this would have caught on, and it would have been like every week these great kids they're the heroes are trying to keep their show alive, and they're reviewing the latest Sega stuff. Just happens to be.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about things about movies and shows and everything. You have classifications for these things. There's so good it's good. There's so bad it's bad. In the rare case, there's actually so good it's bad. And then there's so bad it's good.
Mm-hmm.
This one falls into none of those categories. This one falls into an I don't know why it's here. There's really no reason for this to exist. And it isn't, me saying that now because we're far past the 32X era. If we were back there, I would have said the same thing. There's just no reason for it. There's nothing out of this that you're not going to get out of a gaming magazine. And shows like this were you had like Video Power that was doing this already.
There was less than you were getting out of a gaming magazine.
True, that's true. There really it was like, man, check this out. That's cool. Now let's talk about how I'm going to Cold Stone afterwards.
And what really killed this as being a show that might have been picked up was the fact that it was so heavily concentrated on the product placement. It was like, oh man, do you really think the 32X would be the greatest thing ever? Like, what? Don't you people have lives outside of this? Yeah. Talk about like, oh man, like my parents might be losing their house if I can't get this shit together with the show, like, or something like that. Like, how about some like real world consequences to what, more character development beyond them being, okay, here's the token black guy that we have in the show, and here's the girl that we have to have, and here's.
Yes, that's the thing, is that this show was already this is the start of DEI hires. Because everyone in this is a DEI hire. It's to the point where it's so obvious that they're like, okay, we need an Asian guy. Okay, we need a black guy. Okay,
but it is, but it isn't, because it's not because you're trying to make that group happy. It's trying to sell to that group. It's a marketing ploy. It's all done with marketing. We got to have a woman there because there's a couple girls who game. We got to have this guy because there's people who look like him. There's people who look like this one. And let's have it where they're all living together in an apartment because Friends is a show, I think, at this point.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it kind of felt like, was Friends.
Yeah, like they're trying to copy this vibe that was going around in the 90s of all these shows and of people living together in these city apartments, not telling you that they're living together because there's no other way to live in these city apartments.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all buddies and everything's great. And they all hang out all the time and they're all best friends with each other, even though they're sleeping with each other, which they never got into with Absolute Rose Street because they only had one episode. Yeah. Were two of them dating or something? I forget.
That was another thing with the two of them weren't dating. It was that dude Vanilla Ice had the hots for Courtney Cox, like super, like had a super boner for her. And like, and it came out. There's a scene where I think it came out where he's like, "I really love you" or "like you" or something, and it's just so awkward when it comes out.
And then she's typing these emails, and she has to say out loud as she's typing what she's emailing about, and it's like the 32X, the 32X, the 32X. Okay, so the Sega 32X, if you don't know, now you're gonna know that the Sega 32X was a failure. And it was failure for many reasons. One of them being it came out the same exact day that the Sega Saturn came out in Japan. If not the same exact day, the same around the same time. Yeah. And also it was overpriced and they underproduced with the software because the Sega Saturn was taking a lot of the heat away from it. And it just came out. It was the wrong idea at the wrong time. It just didn't work out. And as somebody who bought one at full price when the fucking thing came out, let me tell you, I was not a happy customer. Some of the games were fine. Like Mortal Kombat 2 was better on it. There were better games on it, but like that's a long-term investment. It was not worth the money.
I just loved how this one pushed Doom so much.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing: this was the 32X is an example of something that's all sizzle and no steak, and that is what this was. This is part of the sizzle that was the 32X. Mm-hmm. They promoted it like crazy, never really showing you what you really wanted to see.
Yeah. Exactly.
They only showed you the same clips over and over and over again. I had Doom on 32X.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. I preferred playing it on my DOS machine.
Yeah.
You know. And the idea is if you're going to make it for the home console, it's supposed to be more convenient for me or something. And the only game I was ever really impressed with on the 32X is I thought Mortal Kombat 2 on 32X was infinitely better than it was on the Genesis.
Gotcha.
To the point where I had the 32X one rented and I owned the Genesis one, and I was literally contemplating changing the shells on them.
But Ben, you do know that you can play your old Genesis games through a 32X. Vanilla Ice taught me that.
And then you notice when he's putting it together, like how it's like they're barely sitting in the slots. He doesn't even put it together properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He just drops it in there. It's like, aren't you going to show how you have to hook up that extra cable?
Yep.
And everything. I remember hooking that thing up. I had a Model 1 Genesis, and it was like, you need like a degree. But then again, I was able to hook up the Sega CD as well. So if you could figure out the Sega CD, their 32X was just a little bit harder.
What was it, when it was hooked up? It looked like you put the system on life support. I mean, they're like the tubes going into one to the other and everything.
That's exactly what James Rolfe said about it on Angry Video Game Nerd. It looked he said it looked like a system on life support. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
I don't know if you were quoting him or not. If you actually can't.
No, I don't.
You're
like
not a fan of his. You literally thought of that on your own.
I never watched
it shows. It really does look like it's on life support if two different people are saying the same thing. Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say that, and I can't stand the Angry Video Game Nerd, so I don't even watch his stuff. So that's crazy.
Yeah, well, if you ever do get the chance to meet him, you can at least agree with him on that point.
Exactly.
It does, though. In the whole system, it's like and it's because it was their cash cow. Like in the States, it beat Nintendo. Not completely, but for a time, it beat Nintendo. It was the WCW of video games because WCW was a company that beat WWE at the time, or WWF at the time, WWE. They beat them for like 83 weeks. And it's kind of like what Sega did with Nintendo. They were able to put Nintendo up on the ropes for a couple years, but Nintendo struck back with the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's kind of what Sega does every time. Sega's like the first one out the door, and they're like, ha ha, look what we can do. And then like 3 months later, like, well, look what we did, and now we can't do it anymore like you guys can. Which is unfortunate because the Dreamcast was such an awesome machine.
The Dreamcast was they already blew off a lot of goodwill at that point. It didn't have any support from EA. There were certain stores that would refuse to carry it because they burned so many people with the Sega Saturn because they went in and said, "Oh yeah, the Sega Saturn, it's supposed to be coming out in September to complete with the PlayStation, but it's actually being released today." Oh, cool! At select retailers.
Yeah.
Oh. Funko Land happened to be one of those select retailers, and that's how I got mine. Literally, like the week it came out, and I'm one of the people burned by the Sega Saturn. You see the Sega Saturn, you remember it fondly. I do not.
That's funny because I don't really, because I didn't get a Sega Saturn until after I had a PlayStation 2, because I was like super anti-Sega.
Oh, okay.
But then I think it was Soul Calibur and King of Fighters, maybe it's Resident Evil Code Veronica. One of those, when I saw it was going on Sega Dreamcast, I'm like, well, I might as well pick up a Dreamcast now. And to this day, that's like my second favorite system of all time.
Yeah, I was talking about the Sega Saturn though.
Oh, I know the Saturn. Yeah, I got the Saturn after I had a PlayStation 2. Saturn is a good system for like top-down shooters. Yeah, and it's actually a good system for fighting games because it can run them much better than the PlayStation could run them.
Yeah, especially if you got that extra memory in the cartridge port.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Saturn was Sega reacting to what the PlayStation could do, and if they just would have stuck to their original plan, maybe they would have done better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They really dropped the ball with it, and at least in the States they dropped the ball. They did well in Japan, but and that's what they lost because they had the Genesis. They were trying to Sega of America wanted to stick with the Genesis because the Genesis was still working.
Mm-hmm.
It was still making money. It was still selling.
Yeah.
And it had all these attachments, and it looked like it was on life support. It's got the Sega Saturn, the Sega CD stuck into the side of it, the Sega 32X down its gullet,
mm-hmm.
with a cord, with a pipe coming out. Yeah, it does the life support thing. It's like an inch bed. It's in its deathbed, and they're like, no, we can get more life out of it. And like maybe it was time for a newer system. Right now they say it was like every 6, 7, 8 years or whatever, it's time for a new system, and maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but they did what they did, and they fucked themselves out of the hardware industry.
Yeah, exactly.
And all Sony was just like, you know what? We're just going to pounce on you, which is funny because Sony got along with Sega very well after they got screwed over by Nintendo.
That's because exactly.
All of a sudden, all these Sony games are getting published on a Sega CD.
So it actually raises the question.
Sewer Shark was a Sony game, and it was a pack-in title, wasn't it? A Sony game? I might be wrong on that, but I think it was.
I don't know.
Well, anyways, what you were saying.
But it's kind of interesting, though, if you think about it, if Nintendo and Sony didn't have their fallout, would Sega still be around making systems? Because you wouldn't have had the PlayStation come out. The PlayStation would have been Nintendo's next system. So you would have just had the Saturn versus the Nintendo station or whatever they wanted to call it. So you'd still be at two systems. And I don't even know if you wouldn't have a PlayStation 2. So I don't know if Microsoft would even jump into the gaming console. So in a way, gaming would be probably really different.
Well, if you look at the history of Xbox and Microsoft,
yeah,
the Xbox was actually manufactured by I guess it was like one of the plants that used to work for Sega.
Huh.
And also like a lot of Sega DNA is in the Xbox. Like if you want to be a super Sega geek and like I love Sega, you should have an Xbox today. Because it is the modern day Sega system. And the PlayStation, if the Nintendo PlayStation deal worked out, PlayStation would have backdoored Nintendo so hard. There's a reason they wanted out of that contract. And that reason was because the contract was very one-sided to Sony. And Sony would have eventually, within a generation or two, pushed Nintendo out of the PlayStation. And we probably would have had the same PlayStation 5 we have today. Except Nintendo wouldn't have the Switch. Nintendo would be a software company making Mario games exclusively for the PlayStation.
I don't know because now you're talking about the PlayStation now. At that point late in the game, scrambling to get people to develop for them because they're not going to be, at that point, they're not going to be a well-known company like they are now.
Who?
Sony.
Sony?
As a game company, yes.
But they own a movie company, they own a music company, they own all this other stuff. They would just leverage that, and that's how they make their deal.
I have 2 words for you on that will shut you down right now.
Okay.
Apple Pippin.
Apple didn't own a movie company. Apple didn't make TVs.
Apple's freaking big computer hardware company.
Not at the time. Not as big as they were nowhere near they are now. Sony was about as big as Sony I think was bigger than they are now back then. Like net worth. I'm just talking about like in the psyche of people. You think of Sony, you think of TVs, you think of radios. And what works with a TV and a good stereo system? A good game console.
Okay. Well, you think Apple, you think computers.
And that's it.
Well,
now phones.
What are on computers?
What's that?
What are on computers? Games. And they couldn't get their own system to actually fly.
I just think that Sony, Sony would be in the same position that they were, and they actually would be in a slightly better position if they had an exclusive Nintendo license. If the Nintendo Sony thing actually happened.
I don't know, because I'm sure like if Sony tried to screw over Nintendo, the first thing Nintendo's going to do is send Kirby after them to eat them up.
But a contract is a contract, and he might have been the one who saw the issue in the contract. Who knows? But somebody in their legal department at the very last minute saw a line in the contract and it was like, oh, holy shit, we're not signing this.
Yeah.
And that ruined the whole thing. And then they went to Panasonic or Philips. Was it Philips? Yeah, they went to Philips.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden we got the CDI with like those like off-brand Mario and Zelda games.
Yep. We've kind of tangent off of what we were actually talking about in a way.
Well, I told you we were going to do that, and if we start talking about this Absolute Rose Street, it's going to lead into 32X, and who knows where that's going to go. Absolute Rose Street is not worth your time unless you are bored. Maybe it is for curiosity's sake.
I don't even think. I really think if you watch this Absolute Rose Street, you're going to come out of thinking, I got nothing of value out of it. There's no point for this existing at all.
There's no character development at all, which is like, if they actually were building this to be a pilot, I could tell off the top it wasn't going to work, because it's like, you watch this whole thing and like, you don't even know who these characters' names are.
I know Vanilla Ice was Max, and that's about it.
Okay, so you got one of the names. I didn't even get that far.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't care about it. Yeah, you don't care about anybody. You're not invested in them in any way other than, well, I hope their show continues. But then you watch the show, and the show is shit. Like, oh, let me show you how you put the cartridge in, and he just drops it in. The cartridge is all cockeyed sideways. It's like, what are you doing, man? This is not how you treat your system. I mean, dropping the 32X in there, slamming the Sega Genesis with the Sega CD, just slamming it together. It's like, you don't do that.
Well, I compare it to video game power, because video game power is really what the kind of thing they're targeting here. And I mean, video game power is so much better put together, because you're actually getting you're getting his little skits and his characterization and everything, but then they're feeding you actual parts of the game that show you like what it really is. This was just like quick screenshots of stuff that you would see anywhere, and it was irrelevant. It was all flashed so quickly, and then it goes back to them trying to be cool at this party that had like 7 people at it.
Yeah,
it's useless.
So this is an infomercial. They're trying to make it look like it's a TV show. So they do have commercial breaks. So they have to run ads. And the ads that they're running a PSA followed by a Sega ad back to the show. And they do this like twice, maybe 3 times. I think they do it twice. And it's just like, what? They're really trying to push that this is a TV show. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, maybe it was, but even you guys got to know this isn't an infomercial. Like, this is never going to go further than this.
Well, what could they have possibly done for the next episode? Because they've already pushed the 32 acts. I mean, are they going to
further with the 32 acts? You have it where the Max character, he's in love with what's her face, and she starts going out with the developer who she stole that information off of. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, was that Jim?
I don't know.
Well, whoever the guy was,
or something, or
who told her all that information.
It was Romeo.
Yeah, Romeo. She was Juliet, and he was Romeo. And I forget. That's right. They were emailing back and forth, and somehow she got all this secret information. And he's like, "How did you get that?" And she's like, "Well, didn't you send it to her?
No,
who else sent it to her?"
Secret backdoor password that unleashed the 32 Beast.
Yeah, like, and it was like all this like video game footage, and it's like it's the 32 acts. Even at the time, the 32 acts wasn't like the most impressive machine.
That scene where the leak happened made hackers look believable.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're back at Game Over, where you're like that one guy where he's just remember the main character from Game Over, where he's like, "Okay, I'm in the Pentagon now."
Or like, what was that minimal scrutiny or whatever that game was?
Yeah. This is right up there with it. If you're like, if you liked Game Over, which is Maximum Surge, the movie, if you watch that and you enjoy that, which you can watch over at Blu-ray Extras channel, if you wanted to watch that, if you enjoy that, you would probably enjoy Absolute Rose Street as well. It's in the same vein.
So all you magical secretion fans, go see Absolute Rose Street. You'll love it.
It's absolutely Rose Street. I'm sorry, I've been saying it wrong this entire time.
Who cares at this point? I'm just going to call it Archaic Rose Street because that crap's so old.
And with that, we draw to an end that segment of the program. Because I think we're done. Are we done with this part?
32, I think we are definitely done.
Okay, so we are ready to move on to the main event.
The main event, our topic tonight are games that, okay, so we'll call this, well, it started good.
I got relationships like that.
Exactly. Games where the first game in the series is good, but the second game ruined the series for you going on. Completely ruined the series. So do you want to start it off?
Well, the one it comes to mind, even though I never really played it a lot, is ActRaiser for Super Nintendo. ActRaiser 1, everybody seems to love it, and ActRaiser 2, everybody says it fell off. Do you have any experience playing either one of those? Because I played ActRaiser 1 a little bit.
Yes. So ActRaiser 2 basically cut out all the town development stuff, and it went just strictly as an action game.
Is it as bad as people make it out to be?
I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. I think that the problem with it is it's excruciatingly hard.
Okay.
So I actually think there's a lot more you can do in ActRaiser 2. You have a lot more spells open to you from the get-go. You have wings so you can fly and everything like that, but it's just so brutal.
And like, is it one of those situations? Is it one of those situations where the Japanese game is actually easier and they made the US version harder because of rentals?
I don't know. That's a good question because I've never played the original Japanese of either of them.
Yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, like the thing notorious for, like, was it I think it was like Ninja Gaiden 3. They took out like continues or something because people were renting these games, beating them in a week, and then never buying them. Mm-hmm. So it was a combat that.
Yeah, But that only had two games though. Except for now, they do have ActRaiser Renaissance, which is the remake of 1, but with additional content that I'll just say it's not worth it.
Another one that I heard and this is one where I've only played the first part, I haven't played the second one, was Toe Jam and Earl.
I've never played any of them.
Yeah, they're not that good.
Okay.
Watch, I'm going to get hate for that. And, you're welcome to leave them in the comment section because it actually helps. But yeah, I never really got into the first one. I played it a little bit because it was like I had it on one of those Sega Genesis collections because there's only 1 billion of those. And the second one I heard, it was just like the whole game, they changed the whole way the game's played, and it completely falls off.
Okay.
Which is something that it sucks when that happens. I got other examples that are gonna be a little bit more controversial a little later. But
okay, some of those. I'm gonna kick off a controversial one now.
All right.
If you listened when I talked about Dread Out, you should probably already know which one I'm gonna go with right now. Silent Hill. Silent Hill, the first Silent Hill game. Okay, so I was kind of late to the Resident Evil bus a bit. I got into Resident Evil a little well after 2, but before 3. And when Resident Evil 3 came out, it felt stale. But then I tried Silent Hill, and Silent Hill to me felt like what Resident Evil 3 should have been. So to me, it feels like the actual Resident Evil 3. Silent Hill 2, though, even with playing the remake, I think I've discussed all my problems with Silent Hill 2 on, I don't know if it was a previous episode or the episode before that, but I can see the good in it. It's just there's too much damage that's done during the exploration phases of it that just destroy the game, and it destroys the whole series going forward after that. So, but I still love the first one.
How about games where it falls off in the second one, but then it makes a comeback?
That's good. We'd have to do a topic for another time because we're in the middle of a topic. We can't do a topic in a topic like that.
We can't do a topic in a topic?
Not really, because we can't really think of something right off the top of my head that would do that when I'm so focused on what becomes crap.
And stays crap.
And stays crap. Yeah, that's the thing. It's got to stay crap.
Oh, okay. How about Street Fighter? I'm just kidding.
How about Street Fighter?
Would you count like the Street Fighters as each number as being its own separate thing?
No, I would still for this kind of topic, I'd still keep it as because it kind of ruined everything going forward.
Okay. No, because I know that's one of your favorites. I was just teasing.
Oh, I know you were. It's okay.
You could just come back with, well, how about Mortal Kombat? But then you'd have to admit that Mortal Kombat 1 was good.
And then I'd also have to admit that Mortal Kombat 2, I actually enjoyed Mortal Kombat 2. The problem was everything after 2 I didn't enjoy. So it doesn't make that the topic. But then again, yeah, Mortal Kombat 1 I enjoyed at that time. But after 3 on, I think maybe like at that point I could put 30 minutes into the series tops of each one, or 30 minutes into each game, before I just wanted to throw it against the wall because of my disgust for it.
All right, so Sea Dogs. We talked about that a couple weeks ago.
What was Sea Dogs?
And then Sea Dogs 2, which ended up becoming renamed Pirates of the Caribbean, and it just made my Xbox like slug. Like, don't they test this? Don't they test these games? Like every Xbox, that's the point. The reason you get a console is the consoles are all the same. So if it says it's going to run on your system, it's going to run on your system. And they get it, and it just all of a sudden slows it down. And I'm like, it's just very unprofessional release of a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think, where they should have tested this on Xboxes and try to get it running where it doesn't run at 2 frames a second.
Mm-hmm.
And it just ruined the whole experience because I talked about when we talked about Sea Dogs, I had it for PC and I thought it was great. It was it was basically if you ever played Assassin's Creed 4 where you're dealing with the ship and the ship simulator. Mm-hmm. If that was a game on its own, that is what Sea Dogs was.
See, I look at more since it's from Bethesda. I look at more as being Elder Scrolls, the pirate version.
I never played Elder Scrolls, so
okay.
My frame of reference is Assassin's Creed.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, because Assassin's Creed 4, half of the game is you're running a pirate ship and you're taking other ships out and you're taking their booty, both physically and metaphorically. And
gotcha. Okay.
Actually, you can take some of their crew members, but not for sex.
I can't imagine how bad it must have been on Xbox, knowing that I played the PC version of the first Sea Dogs, and I actually had to frame skip because the sailing was so dang boring because it took so long. I would sit there for like 10 minutes and like, okay, so I got to be like halfway across this world at this point. Look back, and I can still the island that I was sailing from was still within swimming distance.
Just like when the Wind Waker came out, and one of the guys I knew, he was fresh out of a 4-year stint in the Navy, mm-hmm. and he was just done with ships, done with oceans, done with it, just done with it all.
Yeah.
And he was like. He was so disappointed. I think he gave his copy of Wind Waker to somebody after he just bought it. Like, he gave it away to somebody. He's like, I can't play this. I played it for 2 minutes, and as soon as I saw that you're in the ocean, I said, I can't play this. Mm-hmm. And Wind Waker was amazing.
So on that note, do you want to say something else about Sea Dogs?
Maybe if I played it on a good PC, it would have played better. Mm-hmm. But
probably.
At the time, I don't think I had a better. I think my PC at the time was a Pentium 2, and the Xbox was technically a Pentium 3. Actually, it is a Pentium 3. It's a modified Pentium 3 processor. But yeah, that's it.
So on that note, what you just said about your buddy, I would like to present the next one for this topic, which would be The Legend of Zelda.
You think after the first one it fell off completely?
I think yes. I think after the first one, I've tried each one. Now, I'll be honest. Back in the day, I played through Link to the Past a couple times, and I don't know if I had blinders on at that point or if it just aged so dang poorly. But I can't play it now, and I haven't found really a Zelda game that I could play for more than an hour without not wanting to play it again. And I think it's because Legend of Zelda did something that none of them were able to ever do. And we may have talked about this when we talked about Legend of Zelda games, but the Legend of Zelda game is really a two games in one. And you don't realize it until you really break the two of them down. And then you realize that none of the Legend of Zelda games after that ever were able to capture that 2-in-1 game. So the Legend of Zelda is both a top-down shooter and it's a hack and slash game. And it all depends on how many hearts you have or how much life you have at that time. Because once you lose your beam swords, you play the game incredibly differently. When you have your beam sword, you're sitting there super cautious, playing it like a top-down shooter, dodging so much and trying to stay out of the way of everything while picking off at long distance. The moment you lose that, the game instantly flips to a hack and slash where you have to get in there and go aggressive to get that life back. No Zelda game has ever been able to pick that up again.
Yeah, that's why it's actually Zelda was the reason I was asking about the different topic, because I was going to say because Zelda 2 it kind of fell off, but then they got back the magic back with Zelda 3,
and I don't think they did, and that's the reason why is because they didn't capture that 2-in-1 gameplay that can just flip on you so quickly. I think that's the biggest strength with Legend of Zelda at this point, is that you play it different ways.
Yeah, okay. Well, you want to just slam on a classic series like that, if you want to leave a comment of hate down below, please do.
I'm the M and BM, just so you all know.
Yeah, his name is Mike, so if you want to just like lay it out on him and just give it to him hard.
Exactly.
Leave multiple comments from different accounts if you can.
You can feel free to email me. My email address is mike@idontcarewhatyousay.com. Please send as many messages as you like.
It's funny, there's some guy who actually has that email address. He's getting all these messages.
He's like, dude, I seriously love Zelda. What are you talking about?
No, but his address is idontcarewhatyousay.com. He doesn't actually check his email.
That's true. That's a good point.
If I had that email account, I probably would never check it because I'm like, well, the reason I set it up is I don't care. Why the hell would I ever look?
I would. You know what I do is I would check it and I'd respond to every message with the first sentence saying, "You have a good point."
You have a good point. You have a good point, but
I see where you're going there. All right, what do you have? Do you have any more? Because I do.
You always do.
I always do.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to do another one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me show you how much I love this first game. Okay? Give me about a minute here to show you how much I love this first game. You ready?
Sure, we can set it up.
Nope. I'm going to do this. The tavern's closing. Best be on your way, stranger. What? No mug of ale for a weary travel from distant Corhagen? I can reward you well, for I am of noble blood. I stay open for no man in these dark times. Things come with the night that no sane man would welcome. And so I left, cold of heart and soul, forced to the road and the long bitter night. There he is, get him! End it now. They victus, suffering to the conquered. Not anything pedestrian, physical pain, rather the cruel, jabbed, impotent anger, the hunger for revenge. I didn't care if I was in heaven or hell. All I wanted was to kill my assassins. Sometimes you get what you wished for. The necromancer Mortanius offered me a chance for vengeance, and like a fool, I jumped at his offer without considering the cost. Nothing is free, not even revenge. You will have the blood you hunger for. That was all done by memory. And this is going to make another group rage. Blood Omen Legacy of Kain is one of my top 10 games from when I listed my last, top 50 games mentally. Blood Omen Legacy of Kain was in the top 10. Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver is in the toilet. It was Legacy. The only good thing about Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver was the intro. Once the intro's over, it's just a boring Tomb Raider hack and slash game. Nothing else to it. And the series really didn't get good after it. I mean, I've gone through it, and I'm actually going to go through it again very, very soon because they did do those remakes. I remember 2 was a lot better, but it never captured the magic that the very first Blood Omen game had. Because the very first Blood Omen game, I have yet to find a movie or a book that can actually beat out its story because there's so many moving parts to it. Which is crazy to say about a video game, especially when you think about all these classic literary books. It's just, there's just so much that it's just mind-blowing. I sat one time with somebody to explain the story to them, and after maybe 10 minutes of straight talking about stuff, my next line was, okay, this is where the game begins. So it's just wild how much goes on in that game. And then Soul Reaver was just a general just a revenge story.
Well, it's not really a sequel as much of it's a spinoff in the same universe.
No, it actually is a sequel.
I thought it was like it's just like a side story where like Didn't they do a Blood Omen 2?
Yeah, they did a Blood Omen 2, but Blood Omen 2 takes place in between Blood Omen and Soul Reaver. So basically,
wouldn't that make it the sequel?
Not really, because what you have to understand is that at the very end of Blood Omen, I'm sorry for people who haven't played it, you're going to get spoiled. You're going to get a spoiler here. You have a choice whether you want to heal the world or damn the world. And by damning the world, Cain becomes the ruler of the world and takes over the pillars of Nosgoth. That's where Soul Reaver opens, is he's sitting at the now basically destroyed pillars as the ruler of the world, basically, essentially. Now, Blood Omen 2, he's not quite there. So it's like it kind of is trying to fill in some gaps. Bless you, man.
Thank you.
Bless you again.
Ooh, I'm trying not to sneeze, but it didn't work.
Yeah. But I mean, it's the opening the Soul Reaver and the ending to Blood Omen are so connected. And it's funny because whenever I would find out anyone was playing Blood Omen, I'd be like, do me a favor, when you beat the game, heal the world, please. So that Soul Reaver never exists.
Yes, because if enough people do it, then the game will magically disappear from existence.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, I mean, it's just a way of preventing that timeline from happening, and then you don't ever have to play Soul Reaver.
I liked Soul Reaver. I used to play it on Dreamcast. I borrowed my buddy's Dreamcast. He was like the only person who had one, and one of the games he had for it was Soul Reaver. I really dug it.
Have you ever played Blood Omen: Legacy of Kain?
No.
Play it. It's more of a Zelda type game, but play it. It's just so phenomenal.
They just released Soul Reaver 1 and 2 got remasters that just came out recently.
Yeah, I ended up picking up. I figured it's time for me to go through them all again. So I picked that up, and I picked up Defiance, and I picked up Blood Omen 2 for less than the cost of Soul Reaver on Steam by just finding places that had them on sale. So.
No, that's the way to do it. If you can find it on sale, like you're pretty good at that, finding good prices. Mm-hmm. You should get like one of those people don't use with Twitter anymore. Some social media presence where you just like, here's today's deal. You know?
Yeah.
There's guys who do that, and they get like pretty good followings, and then eventually they get people will they'll get like companies like Honey. You hear about the Honey thing?
No.
Oh, dude, Honey's like in the middle of a lot of shit right now. So basically, long story short, Honey, if you haven't heard of them, is this extension that you can get for your web browser or whatever. And what they found is that if you have Honey and you go to somebody's video and you hit their affiliate link, Honey will take their affiliate link out and replace it with their own.
Wow.
So they were stealing people's commissions.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a lawsuit that's happening right now. Allegedly, I have to say legally. Allegedly, all this was going on. I don't know for sure. I don't use Honey. As soon as I heard about this story, I actually was using Honey on one of my browsers. I dropped it. I never found any coupons anyways. It was useless. I dropped it anyway. I dropped it before this news story broke, like literally a day before, because it wasn't doing anything for me anyways. It was just making the browser slower.
I can't use Honey because I have so many Honeys all over the world that I don't have room for one more.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the topic.
Okay, so you said you don't like Zelda. Uh-huh. You don't like Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. What's next?
Controversial ones are coming, but you need a turn.
as much as I'd love to see Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3 is such a masterpiece. It literally makes up for everything that's wrong with Mario 2.
You know what's funny is that I was actually tempted to list Super Mario Brothers, but the problem is Super Mario Land is in there. Because there's only 2 Mario Brothers games I play, which are Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Land, and I don't touch any of the other ones.
See, I usually just play 1 or 3.
Uh-huh.
And like this, I'm kind of the same way where the rest of them I really don't play too often or at all. If I play it 1 and 3, and then for the 3D versions, I play Mario 64. I can't. I've been thinking, like, I've been trying to think about stuff like all day, and I literally hit you with like everything that I really had.
Okay.
Because there's like, if you went the other way where you said the first game was not as good as, but the second game like got better, there's examples of that. I can't say Castlevania because Castlevania 3 is good.
Castlevania 2 is better.
It also depends on who you're asking. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, well then I'm gonna throw out another one then, because I got a couple more here, and I want to keep it controversial. No, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna leave a controversial one for the end. I should have left Zelda for the end, but you just mentioned it during Sea Dogs, so it was a perfect time for it. So I'm gonna mention this one. I don't know if it's because of the genre of gaming, or if it's the game itself, but Tenchu was good. Tenchu 2 was turned off on my PlayStation within 30 minutes. I've never wanted to touch another Tenchu game. And in general, I don't like stealth. I think that when they put stealth in the game, it's my time to check out. Like, I think it was Resident Evil Revelations 2 had a DLC where you play as one of the characters where you had to do stealth. And I'm like, not going to bother with it. Glad I got this for free. But yeah, it's Metal Gear. The Metal Gear series is another one that has to do with a lot with stealth, and obviously I don't like that. That was one that was hard. That if should I include it or not? But because Sol is not technically the first Metal Gear, but it is the first of the solids. But then again, the Game Boy Metal Gear is good. Anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. Tenchu is garbage now, and that's how I feel.
Okay. I'm looking up series that ended on part 2. Which it's gonna list Last of Us Part 2, which is critically acclaimed. Which I still haven't played. Oh yeah, it's listing like critically acclaimed ones too.
So you don't have anything else?
No, it's listing like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. Was that bad?
I don't know. I never played any of the Knights. I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I didn't go that route. So then we can just close this topic on my last one, which is going to be controversial.
Okay.
Dragon Quest.
I don't know how controversial that is. I'm surprised I didn't think about that one myself.
It's controversial enough. It's not as controversial as if we would have done Super Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda. But there are those people out there that are like JRPG nuts that are going to be like, you can't mention JRPG because it's all so good. But Dragon Quest, the problem with Dragon Quest is with any sort of RPG, the weakness, the strengths and weaknesses are on the battle system. If your battle system sucks, your game's going to suck. The exploration part can be screwed up, but really you're just kind of doing the same thing and all of them, just running around and talking to people who don't really tell you anything of any sort of importance at all. The problem with the Dragon Quest battle system is it worked great in 1 because you only had one character facing one enemy at a time. But when Dragon Quest went to multiple characters facing multiple monsters, it didn't work so good because you get into battle and let's just say you have like a party of, it'd be like, you have John, Jacob, Jingleheimer, and Smiths are your characters in your party.
That's my name too.
Exactly. and you're facing a magician, a group of 3 magicians, a group of slimes, and a group of goblins. Okay. And you're like, okay, I want to have John. John's my fighter, so I want him to attack a magician. I want Jacob, who's kind of like my thief, to also attack a magician, knowing he's not going to do damage. But Jingleheimer's a freaking, I don't know, ranger, so he'll make up for the damage that Jacob does. And Schmitz is a magician, so I'm going to have him cast a spell on a slime. So what happens then is normally, like if it's Final Fantasy, you'd go, okay, John takes on Magician 1, Jacob and Jingleheimer are both gonna target Magician 2 and 3. But that doesn't work in Dragon Quest. In Dragon Quest, John comes out, attacks Magician 1, great, he kills it. Jacob attacks Magician 2, and Jingleheimer attacks Magician 3. Now both Magician 2 and Magician 3 are going to attack. And then the next turn, maybe, Jacob attacks Magician 2 again and doesn't kill him because he can't do enough damage. John now attacks Magician 2, which only had a couple hit points left. And after Magician 2 attacks and Magician 3, you can't lock down your attacks well enough because you're targeting a group rather than you're targeting a specific target in the group. So you can't really strategize very well. So it becomes just this frustration of a battle system that so many other games have decided to latch onto because Dragon Quest was so big.
Gotcha. So, not a fan of Dragon Quest. How many Dragon Quests are there? What's that?
I think they're at, 11 now, maybe, or 12. I don't remember now. Now, I did go back and play Dragon Quest VIII, and I kind of enjoyed that one, but it was the same problem, and it got me to the point where I didn't get through it. But there's so many spin-offs of Dragon Quest as well too, and I just look at them and I'm like, I want to play them, but I don't want to play them because of that.
So, are we wrapping this up?
So I think that's about it.
Okay. Are you ready to hear what we're going to be doing? Okay, so next week we're going to be replaying, I should say, Rita's Revenge, because there's been some updates.
Yes.
If you've been following the game at all, it's all over the interwebs. People are talking about how they've updated the game, and it's apparently better. So we'll be checking it out, giving it our second opinion. And then after that, it'll be our birthday weekend, and we're going to be challenging each other with movies again, but this time it's going to be favorites. So there might be some good movies this time.
Yes.
So do you want to tell me yours first?
I want to hear what yours is first.
Okay. So mine is a 1961 classic starring Audrey Hepburn, George Peppard, Buddy Ebsen. It is Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Wow, that's a movie I never thought I'd ever watch, and now I have to watch it.
Yes. It is one of my personal favorite movies. Audrey Hepburn is my favorite classic movie actress. Bar enough. She is. People are around the world would. When I was in Korea, there were Audrey Hepburn posters in Korea because she is a symbol of. She's a symbol of excellence. She is a symbol of elegance over there and around the world. She is. She's just awesome. She's absolutely awesome. But that is my pick.
I'm glad that I went after you because usually I like to one-up somebody. I think I'm definitely going to one-up you on this one then. Yours is a classic. I'll give you that. But my choice for a movie that you get to watch is called Kyuketsuki Shoujo Tai Shoujo Franken. Vampire Girl vs. Frankenstein Girl is a 2009 Japanese gore film. It was directed by Yoshihiro Nishimura and Naoyuki Tomomatsu and premiered at the New York Asian Film Festival in June 2009. It's based on the manga series with the same name by Shunjiki Uchida.
God, I love Wikipedia. I'm like, yeah, this sounds like a script. Okay. All right, so I'm getting a Japanese horror film, and you're getting an American classic. Okay.
Yep. So I do have a link to watch Vampire Girl versus Frankenstein Girl on YouTube, so you don't have to go out hunting and buying it.
Yeah, because I'm sure that one's actually going to probably be like a $40, $50 movie. It's probably going to be very rare.
I don't know. It was actually on Netflix for a while, which is actually something I'll probably discuss when we talk about it.
Okay.
So.
And that will be for the 19th or after the 19th, depending when you're listening to this. Because we're into
exactly.
That's going to be. Is it the 19th or the 18th?
The 19th.
It is the 19th. That means it's the day before the world changes. Okay.
Yes. Which actually today is technically also the 5th, which is the day before the world changes, because isn't the 6th the day that the Electoral College finishes and certifies the votes and everything?
I guess it's so archaic. This should have been all taken care of by now. It should be January 1st. The new government gets sworn in. I don't know why we got to wait for these archaic dates or whatever. It's it's because back then. Yeah, back then. It's in your explanation. Back then.
Exactly.
Ain't back then anymore.
They really need to say that was back then, but now, welcome everybody to the BM show.
And this is when the music would come rolling in. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. And we look forward to next week when we're going to get our game on. You're going to watch us die as we return to wherever the Power Rangers are from. Where are they from? Indiana?
Evidently, the Black Ranger is from, what was it, Archaic Rose Street.
Archaic Rose Street. So. Well, when you talk about the 32X.
Exactly. Which actually, the Rita's Rewind game looks like it's on 32X, so that kind of works out in a way. Maybe he was the same person. He's like, dude, you guys got to tone down the graphics on that one.
To go back a second, we were talking about Wind Waker and the guy who didn't want to play it. When the GameCube was coming out, he was a huge Star Wars fan, and he was telling me that the Star Wars game that's coming out for GameCube was so good looking that Lucasfilm asked Nintendo to tone the graphics down. Could it look better than his movie?
That's crazy.
It's such bullshit. Have you played the 32? Or have you played the GameCube? The GameCube, was it Rogue Squadron game? It looks good, but it ain't competing against the movie.
I don't think I ever played it.
It's a good game. You really should play. The Rogue Squadron games are good. They're
actually
decent.
Now that you mentioned Star Wars, this is something that I was thinking about earlier before we started the show. Was something we should look into maybe in February. And if you're listening and you've made it this far on the show, please leave a comment if you recommend us doing this. Is for a same, different. We do The Hidden Fortress if we can find it, and Star Wars.
The Hidden Fortress. You mean the Japanese film that it's loosely based on?
Yes.
Ah, that would be interesting.
Because I've never seen
that. It would give me a reason to watch Star Wars again. I have it in 4K. I should watch.
Do that in February sometime.
Yes. Shouldn't we hold it off till May though?
You know what? Let me check the calendar, because if we have on that specific day, if we have a show, we won't be doing a show because I go into hiding that day.
May the 4th?
Yes, I go into hiding on the 4th of May. I will never say it the other way. It's always the 4th of May.
Let's see here. May the 4th is on a Sunday. That's so funny that you would put that out there, and it's right on the day that it would have to fall on from when we record.
I'm going to ask a serious favor, because I'm actually very serious about this. Please do not say that slogan on that episode, because I will probably drop. I cannot stand when people say that. I avoid all social media and everything on that day just because I cannot stand that day.
So you don't want me to, it's the 4th of May.
It is the 4th of May. Yes, please. Thank you. That's just sorry.
It's one of those things that gets under my skin more than you can imagine.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. It's just and it's also the Mario Day. What is it? May 5th is Mario. No, March 5th is
Mario. It's March 10th is Mario Day.
March 10th. Yeah, that I can't stand either. I think it's because people are taking something and adapting it as something it never should have been, and trying to make it like, well, it's now an international holiday. And
yeah, but like, how do you think Halloween started? They're all bullshit.
Do I like Halloween though?
I'm just saying, all these Halloween. I mean, all these holidays are bullshit. They're all man-made.
Yeah, true.
You know, it's like Christmas is celebrated because it went from the shortest day of the year to all of a sudden they noticed 4 days later that the sun was staying out longer and they had a party about it.
Yeah.
And when Rome became Christian, this was literally a settlement that came between the Christians and the pagans to keep peace in the land. Because Christians, we just want to celebrate our Savior. We really don't care what day.
So then on that note, what meaning does Mario Day have?
I know that the month of March, Mario games are on sale at the Nintendo eShop.
Yeah.
It's a Hallmark holiday. It's just there to sell Nintendo games. That's all it's there for. Or Mario plush toys, or Mario stickers, or whatever. You know, it's there to sell Mario gear, which it does.
The Mario Day, it bothers me, but it doesn't bother me as a Star Wars Day because I think the Star Wars Day got pushed to where it's so old.
That just makes people want to buy Star Wars, but people aren't going out and buying Star Wars stuff any more than they normally would.
So on the 4th of May, we will do the Hidden Fortress and Star Wars.
Fine. We'll actually celebrate the 4th with you.
I can't just please, if you're going to say it, warn me ahead of time so I can stick my fingers in my ears. I just don't like hearing it. I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't like hearing it or seeing it.
It's like Prime Day. Like Amazon Prime. Okay, so when I was a kid, wow, we're going really long on this. We've been wrapping up for 20 minutes now.
Cares. People didn't even make it past the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, when I was a kid, there was a thing to push for Christmas in July. It was like, it's Christmas in July over at Sears or whatever store it was, and it never caught on because summertime there's a slump in retail. And they were trying to get the business that they get over Christmas. Amazon does this Amazon Prime Day. They put it in the middle of July. And I'm like, you guys made Christmas in July work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They call it Prime Day, but it's the Christmas in July promotion. That's all it is. And also Black Friday. They do what my mom used to call the Caldor sale, where they jack the price up and then they bring it back to the price it normally is anyways.
Well, as for that, I mean, I guess I could kind of understand, sort of, it makes them money. But really, for the Star Wars Day, all you get are people spamming Facebook with pictures of Star Wars. It's like,
it's cheesy, and you got people who don't even like Star Wars or getting involved because it allows them to be part of the thing or whatever, and Star Wars has been ruined for years, ever since Episode 7 pretty much came out. That should have been like the last thing they ever did, but no, they did 7, and then they did 8, and then they came out with a TV show that was pretty decent, and then they did a bunch of spin-offs off of it, and it became more watered down and more watered down and more watered down and more watered down. I say it all the time. Star Wars used to be 3 great movies.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is that
20,000 things. It's like,
Star Wars is the nostalgia train that should have derailed decades ago.
Yeah, it really is something that they should have just stopped. Like, you don't see, I mean, yeah, they did a musical for Back to the Future, but you don't see them doing Back to the Future Part 4.
Yeah.
You don't see them like doing anything like that where like it's Doc and it's the future and Marty had passed away, because you're not going to have Michael J. Fox come back. Or whatever they would do. You're not seeing anything like that. Or a reboot, God forbid, where all of a sudden like it's a whole new cast. They're not doing anything like that. I'm like, just treat everything like that. Just no more Indiana Jones. I don't consider anything after Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade to be an Indiana Jones movie. I like that. It's a great trilogy. There's 5 of them. No, it's a great trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Well, I would say that there's only 2 good Star Wars movies, but that's me. So.
And what are those 2 good ones?
Definitely Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
And Rogue One.
You liked Rogue One?
I like Rogue One, and
maybe
here's something that's going to hit what I don't like about Star Wars is because Rogue One managed to avoid it as much as possible, given its subject matter. I really do not like, and that's me being nice when I say I do not like. I do not like anything related to Jedis or Force. I think it's cheesy, stupid. But I absolutely love the space battles. Any part of Star Wars that has the spaceships battling, that's great.
Did you really like the beginning of Attack of the Clones?
I don't remember Attack of the Clones, the beginning. That's the one where they're flying in the ships and end up crashing into the ship where Count Dooku or something, isn't it, right?
Yeah, they end up crashing into the ship where Chancellor Valorum is in there, and the ship's like their gravity thing gets screwed up, and everybody ends up all over the place.
I remember something about that being kind of cheesy, though.
Well, yeah, because they were all cheesy. They're all done on a sound stage. You could tell they're done on a sound stage, and none of them are on film. They're all recorded digitally. So, like, if you have a 4K version of the prequel movies, especially prequels 2 and 3, just throw them out because they're upscaled garbage. Blu-ray is the best you'll ever get from episodes 2 and 3. Episode 1, if they went back and remastered it, they could get a 4K out of it. Because it's just like everything. Yeah, it was all cheaply done. It was expensive, but like if you look how it was, like it wasn't done on film. They did the whole. I understand why they did it digitally. You want to be able to edit and see the stuff right there and then. I completely get that, but in return, here we are years later, and these movies can never be remastered. They're at the best that the best that they ever were is when the Blu-ray came out. That's the best you ever get out of it because they were all mastered in 1080p.
And also, I mean, if you think about it, so if you think about the battle that's in Return of the Jedi, the space battle that's in Return of the Jedi, that is such an epic space battle, and that's the main reason why I really love that one. There is the whole Jedi thing has happening at the same time, which that one doesn't bother me as much, but I just see it as like just cheesy sword fighting that is just ridiculous. But if you look at then Rogue One had really focused on the space battle while they were going like on the planet to do whatever they were doing or whatever was going on.
The one thing I really liked about Rogue One was the thing I thought they were going to chicken out on, and then it's all based off of that one line saying that many Bothans died getting us this information. Mm-hmm. That's what the whole thing's based on, which means that everybody in the movie has to die.
Yeah. They
didn't chicken out on that. Yeah. They killed all the characters off. Because I'm like, they're going to find some stupid reason to keep this guy alive or something like that. Mm-hmm. He'll be the one survivor who will show up in one future Star Wars movie and be like, yeah, I was part of the Bothan raid. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they didn't. They went and they killed them all off, and they did it right. It was done right. And then they did Solo, which was not done right.
Which actually is a whole bunch of space battles, if I remember, but I don't really remember it. So that one kind of is gone. But if you notice,
that's the look of Emilia Clarke. Emilia Clarke, she was the girl who was the queen. She was supposed to be destined to be the queen in Game of Thrones. She ends up becoming the Mad Queen at the end. Sorry, I spoiled it. She is in the worst Terminator movie, Genesis, and she's in the worst Star Wars movie, Solo. And I'm like, this poor girl. She's into her agent. She's like, oh, you got me a spot on Star Wars? Yes, it'll be great. I love Star Wars. And then she's in the movie like, this movie sucks.
With that voice, maybe she should have been in Spice World.
I'm sorry, I can't do a British woman impersonation very well.
It's okay. But anyway, I think we're gonna need to kill this one because it's been pretty long.
Yeah, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
Everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You can go and if you check in our About section here on the YouTube, you can look for older episodes over on Spotify. I don't really post on Spotify anymore because we don't really get anybody over there. All the traffic's over here on YouTube. So we go to where the people are, and you're here. So
don't forget, you have to say it right. Spotify. Yes. And if you're saying YouTube, it's YouTube. YouTube. So, and for me, for my closing, I want to specify once again, I'm the M in BM. My name is Mike. I did say that Legend of Zelda, everything after that, the first one is garbage. I also did say that Dragon Quest, everything after that's garbage. And I did say that I hate Star Wars, and I did not include Empire Strikes Back in the list of Star Wars movies that's good because I actually think that movie is complete trash. So feel free to leave a comment on the this video. You can say whatever you want about me because usually when there's notifications, Ben's the ones that sees it.
Actually, I turn notifications off. I usually don't read comments unless they're positive.
Feel free to leave a comment. No one will see it.
I went and I posted something in one of the groups I'm part of on Facebook, and I got all these replies, and I didn't read a single damn one of them, really. I read like a handful of them, but I'm like, in case they're negative, I just don't want to read it. Yeah. You know, I'm just talking about how my setup is, and if you don't like it, I don't care. It's not your setup, it's my setup.
Oh, and I also forgot to mention that I did say that Silent Hill 2-1 was garbage as well, too. So feel free to leave a comment about that, please.
Yes, leave all the comments down below. Multiple comments from multiple accounts if you can. Thumbs up, thumbs down. It doesn't really matter. The algorithm sees it all the same.
And let that be a warning that you'll probably never see Mix and Mike Dicks regarding anything related to Legend of Zelda, Silent Hill, or Dragon Quest, or Tenchu.
See, I learned it from
Kane Soul Reaver. You're not going to see that one either.
I learned it from watching Linus Tech Tips. They would end every one of them saying like, "Give us a thumbs down, a thumbs up, or a thumbs down." And then at one point, I guess somebody was messaging them asking them, "Why are you telling people to thumbs down your video?" And they just went and come out and they said, "Because the algorithm doesn't care."
Yeah, exactly.
It just shows that you're interacting with us. That's what they want. And so, yeah. Give it a thumbs down and say, "Mike, you suck." I should probably do that.
Mike, you suck. Oh, wait, did you want me to say it?
What?
Mike, you suck.
Mike, you suck. And with that, the winner is you.